Hello, welcome back to my allotment. I'm down in the wildlife corner right now where it's actually a bit damp. We had some rain and believe me, we haven't had rain in so long. There used to be an old saying about April showers, but that's just a thing of the past now. We haven't had rain in about a month. So we had a little bit overnight and the air feels damp. Everything's had a little dusting of rain and is looking so much fresher for it. The grounds really needed it. We've had such a dry spring this month, but also quite cold as well. It's still getting quite cold at night, and yeah, a very chilly and dry month it's been. I apologise, by the way, for having this handheld. I would usually put you on a tripod, but my adapter's broken, so it's going to be all handheld today, so I apologise if there's any shakiness that's going to go on, but yeah, it might only be a brief one today. Have a little tour around the allotment and let's see what I've been up to this month. And as I open the gate, immediately I can see my climbing rose has got so much new growth on it. Look at all that fresh, vibrant red foliage that's just come out. We're going to have a lot of more flowers, I believe, this year. It's only in its third year, I think. I've got a cherry blossom there in bloom, nice dark pink right on top of the mound. And as we go down, I've actually almost finished this side border. It's a bit of a surprise for now, so I'm not going to show you that yet because there will be separate videos on my new commemorative border. The pond, I've seen the first frogs. I saw a tiny little frog in there the other day. Haven't spotted the newts yet, they're usually a bit more tricky to find. But lots of spring flowers here again. More little miniature daffodils, primroses are still here. And I just spotted the other day the first of the cowslip. Gorgeous yellow little wildflower. It's great for pollinators. Just coming up now. I've also got a new kingfisher little statue there overlooking the pond. That was from Grandma's garden. I didn't realise it's actually quite breezy today. And down here I've got a pot of my spring bulbs, the lasagna. I've actually cut away the tulips on this one because it looked a bit funny. I'll show you another example in a minute. But these are the muscari or the grape hyacinth. Gorgeous blue flowers. And when these go over and the pot is finished, I will plant all of these bulbs into the border by the gate. I've also got a few new herbs on this table that I'm yet to plant. I love my oregano and I like hot and spicy food. So I've bought a couple of these hot and spicy oregano, and I've also got a variegated oregano as well. And this variegated thyme, which looks and smells amazing. I do need to redo my herb bed at some point. I'm not sure if it'll be this year, but I've got some new herbs at least to harvest from. There's a wren up in that tree and he's making such a loud song. The hawthorn tree will be blooming any time now. It's covered in buds and I'm so happy because last year it didn't bloom at all and it just gets covered in white. I absolutely love it. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks that'll be up. My pink blueberry bush has got some flowers on it. Hopefully they've dodged the random frosts that we've had. There's quite a few on the way. I think it's really responded well to the repotting that we did the other month. So hopefully I'll have lots more blueberries this year. Obviously most of the beds are still empty. I haven't planted out much yet because we haven't passed our last frost date here yet. For me that's usually the second week of May, and it can catch a lot of people out sometimes. I don't take any chances. Strawberries are looking really green and fresh now. Ooh, that wind is really cold. And my apple tree is now in bloom. And the rhubarb is getting pretty jungly. But it has been suffering with all this dry weather. I have been trying to keep up on the watering and giving it, some water from the tap, but it did send up some flower spikes and I'm just looking to see if there's any more. But it happens every year when it's under stress, particularly drought, and it goes to seed, but you want to stop it before it sends up its flower spike and cut it away. I think I've got rid of them all now, but yeah, you want to cut off any flowers that you see on your rhubarb to make sure all the energy is diverted back into leaf and stem production instead, and then also give it a water because it probably needs it. Here's the Timperley early. I haven't harvested too much yet, but it looks like now that we've had a bit of rain, it's going to really shoot up. Lots of gorgeous new bright red stems. Look at those. Oh, the apple blossom. It's one of my absolute favourite signs of spring on my allotment. And it smells so fragrant, and it's just a good sign of a bountiful year of apples. That right there is the smell of spring on my allotment. Hi! And down by my feet, the raspberries are making an appearance. Autumn fruiting raspberry canes that we cut back to the ground in February. And now all the new stems are about to appear that we'll harvest the fruit from later in the season. And right here at the back, if you just excuse the bright yellow bin, it's my absolute favourite spot of the allotment in spring, as the forget-me-not's starting to come up now and the wildlife corner just comes to life. The lupins are also suddenly shot up. The leaves are huge. Here's the hellebore now starting to go over, losing a lot of its colour. But it's still a lovely sort of dusky pinkish colour. And under here we've got a new statue. There's a lady there that overlooks the wildlife corner for me whilst I'm away. She was actually from my grandmother's garden. More of the hellebores. These ones aren't showing signs of going over quite yet. Still holding up nice and strong. I just love that combination of the maroon and that now green, vibrant green of the lupins. All the grass is coming up. This is my rather ornamental grass, the one that looks like little fishtails. That's the breesia and some sticky weed. Yep, the weeds are starting to grow. The Baronera is looking gorgeous now next to some pulmonaria, sorry. Still going. Hope that one seeds everywhere. And everything else is now waking up, especially the alliums that I planted around November time. Really can't wait to see these appear. Look, they're looking really healthy. And just can't wait for it all to come up. Lots of Nepeta there, a single daffodil, more lupins, and my hardy geranium, and a dandelion. I just absolutely love it down here at this time of the year. It all starts to feel quite magical as the flowers come up and spring is here. Warmer days are coming, and yeah, just all feels really hopeful and good. Even more lupins and alliums there at the back, and the forget-me-not is just really starting to bloom. These shoots here are from the lupin that I divided that lives by the pond. And I'm sure they're probably appearing by the pond as well. So I divided it in half, planted the other half here, and yeah, it's bouncing right back into life. Along with some of the variegated vinca that grows around the dahlia bed, that rockery bed. It's a good ground cover though, don't mind it growing around here really. Apparently some people even eat this like asparagus. You can eat the really young shoots. I've never tried it myself though. And there's a couple of tulips still holding on. The ones that I planted left over from last year didn't really make it. I imagine that the rodents found them and scoffed them. There are currently no new visitors in the new bird box this year, and I'm still waiting for the blue tits to return to the nest box that I have in the tree. A bit worried about them. The female keeps calling out for the male and he's around, but They don't seem to be going into the nest box, so we shall see. It has been very cold, they might be a bit late this year. In front of the carrot bed we've got my pots of lasagna planted tulips, and they're all really quite late to appear. Most of them are actually late flowering varieties, which I totally forgot about. But it just means I've got to wait a little bit longer. I'm sure in some of these I planted early and late varieties, so they may all just bloom at once now. I don't mind. It looks like, you know, they survived all of the rodents, so I'm pretty happy. And also down here we've got muscari with some tulips. Strange mix, it's a dwarf tulip. It's quite scented actually. I think this one's called Concerto, and when it opens up and you stick your nose in it, it actually has a bit of a scent. It's slightly cinnamony, I find. Quite unusual for a tulip. And another container there, ready to bloom. Got lots of nice big pansies there. I love the way that they work with the greeny blueness of the tulip foliage. And here's the view from the bottom of the allotment. You can see I've got all those tubs there. My potatoes are now planted. Got all of those in a couple of weeks ago. And down on the trellis we've got lots of shoots on the rose, the climbing rose. This one's called the Generous Gardener. Pale pink colour, the same as what I have by the gate. And the honeysuckle and the clematis are romping away now. Particularly the honeysuckle, that's going to have even bigger coverage than last year. Really excited to see all of this come into bloom this year, just to see how much more filled I can get the trellis panel. Oh yeah, the posts of which I've painted, by the way. They used to be orange, the same, well, orangey red, the same as my shed. But I realised they were much too bright and stuck out like a sore thumb, and I wanted them to blend in more, so they are a nice now green colour. So yeah, not too much change in terms of the beds. Obviously the potatoes are planted out. I haven't put any carrots in my carrot bed yet. It's been quite windy and cold, so that's a job for next week. But I've got lots of broad beans on the way, some of which got a bit wind battered. And there was a bit of shock as well after I planted them out. We had a few cold nights, and also because it's been so dry, they did have a bit of a nutrient deficiency going on, because they couldn't get hold of the nutrients quick enough after I planted them out, so there's a lot of watering in. Next to the broad beans, my peas also suffered a similar shock when I planted them out. It suddenly got very cold, very windy and dry, so they had a bit of a nutrient deficiency for a while, but they've greened up again, and we've got signs of our first pea flowers. And the garlic bed looking good. A few yellowing tips on the older leaves, but nothing to worry about. All of the cheerfulness daffodils are still blooming, with the wallflowers dotted in between. These have been holding out for a really long time, because I showed you them last month, didn't I? But they're all full bloom now, and they smell divine, especially on a nice warm day. A bit chilly today, but yeah, absolutely love these. And the wallflowers are quite particularly pollinator friendly. I didn't quite realise how much the bees love wallflowers. They look a little bit sad now, but they're still going. And there's a weed growing in that one. Let's get you out. Oh yeah, there's a few new additions up on the mound. I bought myself a new red currant the other day. There was a plant swap at the allotment site, and I picked up this rather large red currant because I love the fruit, and I don't get many off the random ones that I have planted here and there. This one's got so many flowers on it, so I'm hoping it's going to be a good start for me, and I'll get quite a few fruits. And I've also been given this fruit bush from my neighbour, and this one is called the Chilean guava, I think that's right. It's like a small reddish pinkish berry, not one that I've ever tried before. My plot friend didn't have enough room on their allotment, so I've got it. It's currently in a pot, but I may plant some of these into the ground up here at the top of the allotment, where I've also planted the medlar that I've owned for a little while but didn't get around to planting. And this is a variety called Nottingham, which is part of the reason why I bought it. It's not actually native to Nottingham. You get a lot of them in Germany, I think, and they've kind of spread around there. We do have a few key plants around the city, but they're more in arboretums and up by the university. But we've got lots of buds there, so I'm hoping we're going to get some medlar fruit. Really excited to try that and just see how they do. Try the whole bletting as part of the harvest to make them edible. And the ornamental cherry, just look at that foliage in those flowers, absolutely gorgeous. Now we're about to go into the Polytunnel. I just thought I'd warn you that you might be expecting shelves overflowing and spilling with seedlings and it all just being jam-packed with plants to go out, but there aren't that many because it's still so cold. And compared to last April, where we had this heat wave and it was really hot and really still quite warm at night time, it's been so cold. We've had snow at the beginning of the month and it's still dipping regularly below freezing at night, so all of my tender crops are still at home. My tomatoes, my chilies, my basil, cucumbers, squash that I've only just sown, I'm leaving them at home to germinate because they'll germinate so much quicker in the warmth. And also I've got my my new grow cabinet, which is working really, really well, and it's given them the prime conditions that they want, plenty of light. So a lot of them are still there until it warms up, basically. And we're hopefully going to have some warmer temperatures as we go into May. And as I say, the last frost date for me is generally the second week of May. So I won't be planting anything out, excuse me, such as the lettuces, because I'm not one for rushing home from work to put fleece over things. Yes, I will do it if there is a frost. Obviously I want to protect things, but I don't like making more work for myself. So, you know, I'm not going to be stressing about my plants, so a lot of them will be staying at home for now. But let's go inside anyway and I'll show you what we've got in the Polytunnel. A lot of the space is actually taken up by the dahlias that are also now potted up. Let me just shut this door behind me. Yeah, so straight away all of those pots right at the back are dahlias, and I know, how the hell did they breed? There are so many of them. Far too many. I don't know where they're all going to go, but basically they got too big. The tubers were so big I couldn't fit them in the pot, so I've divided them, and some of the plants I've now got 3 of each or more, you see. So a lot of these will, I don't know, if I don't have room for them, they'll be going to friends and family and people that would like a dahlia. But otherwise, over here, oh, this is my lemon that was looking so gorgeous the other month with all those flowers that smelt really good. But I took it indoors because it was so cold at night, and then it soon after dropped all of its leaves. So, oh, I also have a lime that I bought. Has fruit on it even. Never grown a lime before. First year growing for citrus. But I've been informed that the leaves will come back. It will bounce right back on this lemon. So I've just given it some water, try not to let it dry out, and I've given it a feed as well because they are quite hungry plants, so I'm told. If I start back by the door, that makes a little bit more sense. These trays here have got cosmos seeds in them that I sowed not too long ago, so they're not appearing just yet. But in here we've got the signs of my grasses, the Panicum elegans frosted explosion. It's that really airy type of grass that I had with my straw flowers last year, and also tiny little seedlings here at the front. It's like a blue daisy, and that's as part of my border by the entrance. Lots of trays of straw flowers that are yet to appear, and underneath I actually bought 2 courgette plants because I realised I didn't have any seeds, and I love the yellow varieties because they're easier to spot. And basically we had a few plants at work and I bought some. You know, it doesn't matter, it's not cheating, you're still growing your own. And yeah, so I've got 2 quite established courgettes already, hoping we don't get any frost because my polytunnel is not frost proof. And we've also got some more cosmos down here, a couple of them are sprouted. Seashells, that was one of my favourites last year. I have some spinach that I recently pricked out, and lots of this honesty that I've saved. It self-seed itself, so I've planted them up in little plugs and I'll plant them back out again. A few foxgloves and little bits and pieces, one that's going over, that were outside for a while. Down in these 2 pots we have my canna plants that I overwintered in the basement, and they even started to regrow in the basement. But they need repotting, they're still in their old compost from last year. So that's a job on the to-do list. And also the banana, which, oh my god, yes, it's very dried out, but you wouldn't believe the root system on this. So I will show you. This thing is a beast. Look at it. I can't believe how quickly these grow. So this also needs dividing. But yeah, you can see it's starting to shoot already where those little green flecks are. This tray here is where all my sweet corn's going to go. Haven't sown it yet. I'm in no rush to. You can still sow it right into May. And I don't want to have too many things to do at once, like planting out and all of that. So I've also got some lettuce that are ready to go out soon. Love the colour on those. And I've also got 2 butternut squash there that I bought from work as seedlings as well, because I haven't had butternut squash for a while. Down here we've got my Sunzilla sunflowers, which I'm really excited for because I've never grown a really big sunflower before, and these are the ones that are supposed to have really big heads. So I'm really looking forward to growing sunflowers again this year. Some delphinium seeds that haven't come up yet, as well as some lettuce seeds that haven't come up yet, and lots more of that honesty. And what's on the top shelf? Oh yeah, lots and lots of peas. I've got a range here, sugar snap varieties, a very tall one called Telegraph, which will be about 8 foot tall, and also I'm growing the Rosacrone again, that really beautiful pink blush pea that grew in like a crown shape of flowers. And the chicken wire is to prevent mice from getting in and stealing the seeds, basically. I know it's not perfect, but if a mouse actually managed to get under this, then, you know, fair play. Here we are then, at the top of the allotment, at the end of April in 2020, on a bit of a grey day, but we finally had some rain, and lots of exciting things to come next month. As we go into May, it's one of the busiest months for a gardener. Lots of planting out, more seed sowing, plant shuffling, and tending to our seedlings. And the polytunnel is about to get a lot busier. Once those temperatures warm up, I'll bring all of the plants from home into the polytunnel, and then I'll be planting out the tomatoes, the chilies, and yeah, lots of growing on and planting to do. It's all rather exciting. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.